Today brings us delicious, flaky, warm fried pie. I made these chocolate pies. The recipe is in the description, and I'm not gonna tell you what state belongs to this dessert. That is a secret until the end of the video. So stick around till the end of the video to find out and let me know in the comments what your guess is to which state belongs to these delicious fried pies. And just a little bit of background about why this belongs to this state. It says fried pie is popular in this state because of the legacy of Arbuckle Mountain fried pies, which originated in the small town of Davis near the Arbuckle Mountains and are known for their delicious homemade fruit-filled pies. Well, these are chocolate. And it was passed down through generations of the Pletcher family. Do you know them? Because I don't. Making them a staple food associated with this state. People often travel specifically to try these fried pies along Interstate 35. So that may be a hint for some of you. I wouldn't know what the hell that meant, but let me know in the comments what your guess is, and let's live and let fry.
So this starts with a ganache. That's going to become the filling for our pies, and it is really simple. It's just 6 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate chips and a half a cup of heavy cream. I heated the heavy cream in the microwave, and I had my face pressed up against the glass because you need to know when it just comes to a simmer, which takes about 50 seconds to a minute. You don't want it to fully boil because it can get too hot, and that will risk overheating and separating the chocolate. So when it just comes to a simmer, pour it over the chocolate chips and let it sit for 1 minute just to allow it to melt. I'm going to use a small fork to start stirring, and I'm just going to start with small stirs in the center, and notice that my camera can't focus because it doesn't like when things move in front of it. But isn't that what a camera is made for, my friends? I will never know the answer. Hopefully you do, and if you do, let me know in the comments. But stir your ganache, gentle small stirs in the center, and then start to work your way out, and you'll notice the ganache will come together and become thick, shiny, and absolutely gorgeous. So it's done after that point, and we're just gonna let it firm up because that's what happens to ganache when you let it sit. So we're gonna let it cool at room temperature for about 10 minutes and then pop it in the fridge for about an hour, and it'll be really nice and scoopable. Now, when it comes to pie crust, don't be afraid, my friends. It is really easy. I like to use a food processor because it is the easiest and the quickest. So I put 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour in the bowl of a food processor with the basic blade attachment, and then I'm going to be adding 1 stick or a half a cup of cold unsalted butter cut into cubes. Here I tried to show you one of those cubes, but it decided to fling out of my hand like it had a mind of its own, but fortunately it came flying back to me. So that went in the bowl of the food processor along with a pinch of salt, some over the shoulder for good measure, and I just pulsed it for about 5 seconds, and that's it. You just want to break the butter up into various sized chunks, and we're going to put in 7 tablespoons of ice water in there. You don't want too much water. Too much moisture result in shrinking pie dough. So 7 tablespoons is the magic number here for this recipe. Make sure you save some for yourself because hydration is important. And then I'm just going to process this for maybe 5 to 10 seconds until the dough almost comes together. It'll still be in a bunch of pieces, but they're a bunch of like dough pieces. It's not floury or anything else. So it collects really easily when you dump it onto a board. We do this just not to overwork it. So we're going to collect it into a disc and then put it in between 2 pieces of parchment. I floured the bottom piece and then floured the top of the dough so it wouldn't stick to any of the paper. And we're using a rolling pin to rolling this out into a 1/4 inch thickness. Now we're going to use a pizza cutter to trim off the edges to make a nice neat rectangle because I like things to be really nice and neat. And then this will cut into 4 even parts. This will make 2 medium-sized pies. Now you can use the trimmings of the dough to make 1 additional pie, so I guess you'll get 3 pretty good sized pies out of this recipe. Now we're going to let these chill for about 15 minutes in the fridge, and after the ganache has chilled, you can see it's thickened up really nicely, and we're going to put about a 1/4 cup of ganache in the center of the square of the pie dough. Well, I guess it's technically a rectangle, whatever. I'm not a geometry major, but put another piece of dough on top of that, gently press the edges to seal, and use a fork to crimp it and really seal it off. Now we have some vegetable oil in a large pan that was heated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Keep a candy thermometer in that pan so you can always monitor the temperature of your oil. That is very important. So we're going to drop our pies in 2 at a time. Works well here, which is great because this recipe only makes 3. And we're going to fry these for about 8 minutes and give them a nice little dance of moral support so they can crisp up really nicely. Midway through the fry, flip them gently with a wire spider or whatever safe tool you have to use in hot frying oil. Another dance for the second half of frying, and then remove them from the oil once it has been about 8 minutes. They're nice and deep golden brown, and just put them on a paper towel to drain. You want to let these cool for just a few minutes because you do not want to scorch your mouth with hot fry oil. Trust trust me, it is just not a good time. But look at that, the melty chocolatey filling, the flaky pie crust, these are simply divine.
Now, I just gotta be honest, when I see that melty chocolate and the flaky golden pie crust, I get so excited. That's why I love my pie crust recipe, because it is so easy, it comes together so quick, and it always yields delicious, flaky pie crust. All right, so for the state that goes with this, it is Oklahoma. Now, I know some of you may disagree if you are from there or you know anything about states and their related desserts. Long story short, there are a couple states that claim to have the same state dessert. So in order to avoid that, I do a little more research and just pick another popular or legendary dessert from that state so that I have a different recipe for each state. That's really all there is to it. Oklahoma did claim another dessert as their state dessert, but so did another state. So I'm gonna save that one for that other state, and Oklahoma's gonna get their delicious fried pies. Oh, I live the flakiness. Oh my God, the pie crust is just so light, so flaky, buttery. That ganache is melty, it's rich. The whole combination is just an epic freaking win. Thanks for joining me for stop number 13 of our dessert tour of the United States. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this, what state you live in, and what your state dessert should be. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you can join me for all of my weekly content here on AJ Loves Food. Hope you all have the best day ever, and I'll see you next time.